I really need to talk about this movie, because the remake of Beauty and the Beast black-pilled me into hating Disney live-action movies. Because of this crap, I went from this to this whenever I hear about an upcoming Disney live-action remake. So let's rant about this crap. I started having a very bad feeling about this movie when we have a dirty and weird-looking hand grabbing a rose. We have this very weird ball scene with the prince, and he's wearing tons of makeup. He looked so awful and weird. The narration also feels weird. Some things just work way better in animated movies and simply awful in live-action remakes. Yet another red flag about Disney live-action movies. But the movie gets way worse when the plot kicks in and we're introduced to Emma Watson as Belle, because Emma Watson played a relevant role in butchering Belle's character. In this movie, Belle has her father's job in the original 1991 movie and became an inventor in this remake. According to Emma Watson, OG Belle didn't have much to do to spend her time with, so that is one of the reasons why she became an inventor in this movie, which is so dumb. OG Belle spent her time reading books. She was a daydreamer, longing to live a more exciting, epic life, going through adventures and finding romance at the end, like in the books she read. That is the entire point of the That Belle song. Belle being dissatisfied in that small provincial town, and the people of that town simply not getting her behavior. Plus, Emma Watson's voice was auto-tuned as heck. So when the song is over, live-action Gaston kicks in, and the scene was so painful to watch. This Gaston stars as a guy who's legitimately trying to be nice to please the girl he likes. So despite being somewhat of an illiterate, he tries to tag along with the conversation about books, instead of tossing her book in a mud puddle and saying that women shouldn't read like OG Gaston did. But Emma Watson's Belle simply rolls her eyes and leaves him after a minute of interaction or something. It conveyed the precise opposite energy of the original scene. OG Gaston threw her favorite book in the freaking mud and then mocked her own father right in front of her. Now he just looks like a pathetic person at the beginning of the movie. This Gaston starts off as low-energy Gaston. Why? So Maurice now is just a watchmaker, and we had this very dumb scene of Emma Watson's Belle asking her dad about her mom, and then the infinite pandering starts.
Please, just tell me one more thing about her.
Fearless.
Wow, guys, isn't this Belle a strong, empowered female lead? She's just like her mom. Belle and her father say farewell because he goes to this big city every year or something, and Belle asks him to bring her a flower because his live-action remake flirted with the idea of getting the best of both worlds. The plots from both the 1991 Disney movie and the original French tale of La Belle et la Bête, and the results couldn't be more disastrous. So Maurice goes to this city every year.
You ask for that every year.
And every year you bring it.
But he still got lost. Then he's chased by wolves, tons of ex machina moments happen, which finally leads him to find the Beast's castle. After freaking out about talking furniture, he cuts off a rose to keep his promise to Belle, but surprise, surprise, he is caught by the Beast. After appeasing that purpose by showing that boring exposition scene about Belle's deceased mother, we are given the sole scene of Belle putting her inventor skills to practice. She created a prototype of a washing machine, which is just a donkey rotating a bucket with soap, water, and clothes inside of it, so she can have more free time to empower little girls by teaching them how to read. But then the patriarchy comes in, trashes her invention, and poor Belle is bashed for her female empowering altruism, because having one girl who knows how to read is enough.
What on earth are you doing? Teaching another girl to read? Isn't one enough?
This dumb movie. So low-energy Gaston shows up again, and Belle complains to him about being criticized for wanting to teach kids how to read. Now it's clear that we must sympathize with this Belle because she is a poor progressive girl living in this misogynist society, and not because she was sweet, kind, and gentle like in the original movie. But this Emma Watson's Belle gives us no likable traits to like her to begin with. Emma Watson's Belle is constantly seen frowning or looking pissed off. She has no charisma. She's not sweet or kind. They've taken every single likable trait from OG Belle and replaced them with unlikable ones. It's impressive how some script writers nowadays have no understanding about the source material and what made those movies and characters memorable and beloved to begin with. And by script writers, I also mean Emma Watson. So we had this whole thing with this beggar called Agatha. I wonder this will lead us somewhere. Now Gaston is trying to convince Belle to marry him, and my eyes are at the brink of bleeding at this point. But he couldn't bleed just yet because this movie gets way worse. Remember when Gaston threw her book in the mud and trashed her father in this live-action movie? Yeah, me neither. Because those moments that enriched Gaston's despicable character were left out now, but now he's shown stepping on poor Belle's cabbages. Look at how mean he is to her, everyone. He's stepping on her cabbages. Wow, Disney, thanks. So instead of entering in Belle's house, forcing his way in and to make her marry him at all costs, this Gaston looks like an inconvenient simp. After a simple rejection, he just leaves. Honestly, this moment was meant to show the audience what empowered woman Belle is by saying no and rejecting Gaston's advances on her time and time again. But they empower her at the cost of making Gaston look like a weak, pathetic character in this remake. OG Gaston will storm around, not giving up on his goals and getting angry when his attempts failed. But this Gaston behaves like he is too dumb to notice that she doesn't want him and just leaves like an idiot. This moment also ruins the purpose of the reprise song of Belle because OG Belle sings that after Gaston basically forcing her to marry him. The song is basically Belle expressing her disgust for the awful things he's done and how appalled she is by the idea of getting married to Gaston, along with how she dreams of having something more in her life, something she couldn't find where she lived. But in this remake, he has not done half of the disgusting things OG Gaston did at this point in the original movie. Plus, I'm so annoyed by the location of Belle's house in this remake. It's basically in the town, it makes no sense. The house was originally located at the outskirts of the town, and it made sense because she had a stable for her horse. She needed space to have these things, but to place her house inside the town feels so cramped and so out of place. Plus number 2, the CGI landscape was so obvious as the camera swirls around Emma Watson, it was so distracting. So finally Belle knows what happened to her father and off she goes to the castle. And again, this movie does not cease to get worse by the minute. Emma Watson's Belle finds Maurice and finally the first drop of blood rolled down my cheek. Unlike OG Belle, who chose to be imprisoned in her father's place, surprising even the Beast with such acts of altruism, Emma Watson's Belle pushed her Maurice out of the cell, tricking him and locking herself up because that's empowering, I guess, and that is supposed to make her an empowered Disney princess, I guess? This dumb movie. Then Belle is freed not by the Beast, who struggled with a heavy conscience for leaving her locked up after losing her father and her freedom in the same day, but by Cogsworth and Lumiere. I also love it how they had to be the ones telling her about the West Wing when OG Beast was the one who did all those things, and they all served their purpose later on in the movie, but it all falls flat by making those two doing it in this remake. The Beast tries to make Belle dine with him and she refuses, but the way the scene was made was so painful to watch. OG Beast is struggling with controlling his anger and fury, first because he thinks Belle is beautiful whereas he is an ugly looking beast, and then because she won't dine with him. He first demands her to dine with him by violently banging the door, and the scene finishes with him yelling at the top of his lungs that if she won't eat with him, then she'll starve to death. But this live-action Beast is yet another low-energy character, because for Emma Watson's Belle to look and sound empowered and strong, or whatever it is Disney and Emma Watson thought those terms meant, it necessarily made the other characters look weak and pathetic. Emma Watson's Belle starts confronting the Beast by saying that he imprisoned her and now he demands her to dine with him, like he's bossing her around or something because she is empowered and no one can tell her what to do, am I right? But she was the one who chose to lock herself up to begin with. It was all her idea. It wasn't like OG Belle begging the Beast to let her dad go and take her instead. Not even to mention that OG Belle made a promise to the Beast, which Emma Watson's Belle never did. Because she made a promise, OG Belle stayed in the castle but still refused to dine with him because of how belligerent he was. But this dumb Belle is trying to escape, and then she's all about him imprisoning her. Not even to mention how the Beast has contempt for Belle because of this she is the daughter of a thief crap. This dumb movie. So we had a boring version of the Be Our Guest song, and after that we finally had the moment it made me cry blood tears. So Belle went to the West Wing and found the magical rose, but surprise, surprise, the Beast was there, yells at her face, and she runs away. I hated how this remake ruined this scene. It makes no sense for the Beast to be this angry at Belle because in this live-action movie, he never told her to never go to the West Wing to begin with. It was Lumiere and Cogsworth who told her that, which simply begs the question, why? It was a pivotal moment because the Beast is being consumed by remorse for going berserk like that the second she leaves the room. It makes him feel horrible, and because of that, he goes after her and saves Belle from the wolves. But it does not happen like that in this remake. He didn't even look like he had any remorse at all. He just stares at the rose with his bland CGI face. Plus, it was a moment where both Belle and the Beast were wrong back in the original movie. She was wrong for disobeying the Beast, just like he was wrong for behaving like that to her. But from that moment, both of them start being nicer and kinder to each other, which leads to character development and growth. But we have none of these things here. So after a boring bland scene of Emma Watson's Belle being saved from the CGI wolves, another painful moment happens. Emma Watson's Belle tries to heal the Beast's wounds, but all depth the original scene had is simply not present in this remake. It's basically a line-to-line repetition from the original movie, but it falls flat, it's horrible. In the original movie, we could reason with both Belle and the Beast's reasons for what they did, but then both of them acknowledged their mistakes, and from that moment, their relationship with each other improved significantly, and the Beast effectively started being a better person. Whereas in this dumb live-action movie, they both continue to have the character depth of a puddle. Plus, they have no chemistry or whatsoever. Then more pandering for the nitpickers happens, and we're given a ridiculous explanation for why the Beast became the Beast and why the castle staff got cursed as well. Disney continues to follow the ridiculous formula of giving Disney villains a tragic past. Because characters can become bad people unless they have a reason to become one, am I right? So poor Beast here lost his mom at a very young age, and his father gave him a bad education, which culminated in the Beast becoming a nasty person. And the castle staff did nothing to stop that, so that is the reason why they were punished and were turned into house objects. She says that she wants to help them at some point after that. Yeah, you have to fall in love with our master, but the world is running out of paddles, so you gotta hurry. No pressure, by the way. And then they're all going to die if the curse is not undone? Why? This dumb movie. After that, Belle and the Beast have this unbearable conversation about their favorite novels, and this movie excels at ruining the original one. It's baffling. So instead of the Beast giving his own library to Belle because he started to fall in love with her and wanted to do something nice for Belle, this dumb CGI Beast simply shows her his library, and that's simply it. Just showing her his book collections, and he's like, well then, if you like it so much, then it is yours. What the heck? Stop ruining the things I like. Meanwhile, Maurice managed to make Gaston and LeFou help him find the castle and save his daughter. And this Gaston has somewhat of a tragic past of his own too, because he has war PTSD now. This is also tiresome. So they leave Maurice in the woods and go back to the town, but surprise, surprise, Agatha the beggar saves him in this very fake scenario, which is where she lives, I guess. It keeps getting worse, it's unbelievable. Speaking of unbelievable, we now have the most painful moment of this entire movie. The Beast has a book which takes them physically back in time, so they time travel to Paris in the middle of a plague, and more pandering happens because, surprise, surprise, Belle's mom died because of the plague. Which makes me think that it was very stupid for Maurice to keep this fact away from Belle. Her mom died because of the plague, so what? It doesn't sound as a legit reason to hide this fact from her. But here, it's just to pander nitpickers who keep asking about the mothers of Disney princesses and to create further tension about the fate of Belle's mom or something. Plus, the scene is so cringe and so out of place. Who in the world had this stupid idea? Not just that, but it's not like the Beast was completely isolated from the world, because that was the purpose of the magic mirror, which shows him whatever he asks for. But now he has a book that can take them physically to other places in a different time? This dumb movie. So the town knows about how Maurice was abandoned in the woods by Gaston, and now the townspeople are doubting about Gaston's good qualities, I guess. Which is so stupid. OG Gaston was praised by the entire town. They all looked up to Gaston, to his courage, strength, and skills. If Gaston took the lead, they were sure to follow. But now they're all against him for a minute because of what Maurice told them, which makes no sense. OG Maurice was ridiculed by almost the entire town, so that's why nobody believed him about the Beast. That's why also no one cared if he was being thrown into an asylum, given that most people believed he was crazy anyway. And the talk about a Beast living in a huge castle in the woods didn't do him any favors. But this confrontation scene at the bar falls so flat, it's painful. Speaking of painful, let's talk about how LeFou had to pay people to start singing No One Like Gaston at the bar. It made Gaston look so weak and pathetic. People wouldn't hesitate or have to be persuaded in order to praise Gaston. They would hasten to support him because of how admired he was. The scene of the remake made him look like a low-energy dump man. But honestly, the entire scene looked weird as heck. People either look too uninterested and are getting paid to sing, or too theatrical, like they came straight out of a Broadway show. Josh Gad looks creepy and awful as LeFou at times, and Luke Evans simply can emulate the same energy of OG Gaston. And we also have this scene of Gaston playing swords with some other men, and it felt so over-theatrical and clearly rehearsed. That was pure filler. This movie is a disaster. In the meantime, the character development between Belle and the Beast, lots of quotes when I say character development by the way, is a catastrophe. Emma Watson and Dan Stevens have no chemistry or whatsoever, which is so frustrating because I was really looking forward to watching this movie with both of them as the protagonists. But I honestly can't blame it all on them, given that the writing of this movie is a receipt for disaster. But Emma Watson interfered in the writing of this live-action movie to a certain extent when it comes to Belle, so yeah, I can blame her for both things actually. The CGI face of the Beast looks bland and weird most of the time. It can't express the emotions OG Beast could back in the 1991 movie. Some moments that were so sweet look terrible in this remake. You're completely missing the point. We also had some very bland conversations between both of them, which made me feel absolutely nothing but boredom. Didn't you just scene of the Beast throwing a snowball right in her face? What the heck was that for? That is so dumb. So some time passes and here we are, the ballroom scene finally, and it sucked. Emma Watson's Belle dress looks awful. Emma Watson also had a thing or two to say about Belle's dress in this remake apparently. Why am I not surprised? The scene lacks every single aspect of romance, magic, and joy from the original ballroom scene. Imagine my shock. The Beast doesn't look like he's having the time of his life, feeling great about himself with the woman he loves like in the original movie. He just looks sort of uncomfortable at times. Why? Of course OG Beast still looks awkward at the beginning, but then he lets go of that and then he's having a great time with her. This was such an uplifting moment for him in the 1991 version. The choreography was also very weird. Sometimes it looks clumsy, sometimes stiff, and again, Emma Watson and Dan Stevens show no sign of chemistry or whatsoever through their characters. They look like they're just sort of there, dancing because the script said so, and not because they're having an intimate romantic moment together. It's also tiresome. Emma Watson simply can't stop looking with this bland face of hers. She fails to express Belle's tenderness and kindness in this scene horribly. It's so painful to watch. But things don't stop looking awkward after that, and the conversation they had after the dance was so embarrassing. They look so awkward around each other, it's awful. So Emma Watson supersedes her capacity of butchering OG Belle, and when asked by the Beast if she's happy with him, she says this.
Can anybody be happy if they aren't free?
So instead of falling in love with the Beast and being happy with him but still missing her dad, this butchered Belle was all about her freedom and not the romantic moment that they were supposed to have. Because that was the purpose of the original ballroom scene, to express how in love and happy they were with each other. If this Belle has not shown any sign of her falling for the Beast, and then after the dance she still shows no sign of that and only talks about her lack of freedom, then what the heck was the purpose of the ballroom scene in this remake? All they do is missing the point with this movie. I hate it. Belle finds her dad through the magic mirror, and the lack of emotions in their goodbye scene is unbearable. Why does every emotional scene from the OG movie look so emotionless in this live action? Then the CGI Beast starts singing this awful song, so Belle arrives just in time to see the mob throw her father in a wagon and head into an asylum. They both get locked up inside of it while Gaston and his mob head towards the castle to kill the Beast. So finally the issue of Belle's deceased mother is addressed, and she tells her dad that she knows what happened to her mom. So that's what all those boring exposition scenes about her mother led up to. Things I hated. The mob finally arrives at the castle, and that's when LeFou's character starts getting retconned. Because he's gay, he can't be a dislikable villain like he is in the original movie. A pathetic little creature whose name literally means the fool, with no personality or any sense of self-respect of his own, who is just a Gaston's shadow, following him around even if it means getting beaten time and time again. So they made this dumb 10-second conversation scene so he is no longer a villain, and we won't see him again until at the very end of the movie, where he interacts with another gay dude for literally 2 seconds. So Gaston and the Beast have one of the lowest energy interactions ever. I won't even waste my voice to express this, just see it for yourselves.
Get up! What's the matter, Beast? Too kind and gentle to fight back?
Hello, Beast. I'm Gaston. Belle sent me. Are you in love with her?
Were you in love with her, beast? Did you honestly think she'd want you when she had someone like me?
Did you honestly think she'd want you?
It's over, beast! Belle is mine!
Gaston! No!
Let me go! Please, don't hurt me! I'll do anything! Anything!
Don't let me go. Please. I'll do anything. Don't hurt me, Beast.
I am not a beast. Get out.
So, skipping a very boring and low-energy fight scene between the Beast and Gaston, Belle arrives. The Beast spares Gaston's life, but then Gaston shot the Beast multiple times. But because the rose is running out of petals, the castle is crumbling. So instead of Gaston climbing his way from where the Beast spared his life, all the way to stab him from behind, and inadvertently fall into his own death while he was so sure of his victory. This low-energy Gaston was simply at the wrong place and at the wrong time, because surprise, surprise, the castle was crumbling, so the area in which he was standing crumbled and he falls to his death. I love it how Disney took a dramatic death after a disgusting act of betrayal from us and gave us this dumb anticlimactic death instead. The Beast's death was so stupid, I can't stand it. Disney tried to compensate the lack of character development and romance between the two of them for most of this almost a 2-hour-long movie and made Belle kiss the Beast. What the heck? Who could have thought that Agatha the Beggar was a freaking witch this whole time? The transformation scene was very weird. Some things just look way better in animated movies. I'll never get tired of saying that. More pandering for the nitpickers happened because finally the villagers remembered about the castle's existence and the castle staff's existence, and it was all so dumb. Finally skip into the final scene, but this movie had to be dumped one last time before the credits started rolling, so they made this.
How would you feel about growing a beard?
This dumb movie. So yeah, those were my belated thoughts on this movie. I unapologetically hated every single aspect of it. If there's only one good thing from all that, is that it finally opened my eyes to how terrible Disney live-action movies are. But it's so sad how the company that is making all those soulless cash grab remakes is the same one that made all those heartwarming animations in the past. Why can't we have nice things anymore? Just stop ruining the things I love, please.